The shot outside echoed, then faded. No second one came. The church held its breath. Silas Crowe lowered his hand from the gun he never drew. He turned slowly toward the boy. "You hear that?" Silas said. The boy frowned. "That's not an attack," Silas continued. "That's a warning. They want you afraid. Not dead." The boy tightened his grip on the rifle. "They said you'd try to talk." Silas nodded. "Men who lie always say that." Sheriff Moore swallowed hard. "Son, who told you about your father?" The boy hesitated. His eyes flicked to the door. Voices murmured outside, waiting. "A man from town," he said. Said he knew what happened. Said the Crows rode through our land. "Did he give you a name?" Silas asked. The boy shook his head. "Then he didn't give you the truth," Silas replied. Moore stepped closer. "Your father wasn't killed by the Crow gang?" The words fell wrong. Too heavy. "That's a lie," the boy snapped, but his voice cracked. "No," Moore said quietly. "It's a confession." Silas looked at the sheriff. "Tell him." Moore closed his eyes. When he spoke, his badge seemed to weigh 100 pounds. "Your father was caught between deals," he said. "Men wanted land cleared, quietly. The Crows were blamed because it was convenient." The boy's rifle lowered an inch. "Then why did they say you survived?" Silas met his gaze. "Because someone had to carry the story." The bell rope creaked softly above them. Outside, the crowd remained, listening, waiting to see which lie would walk out first. The voices outside grew louder, not angry, certain, the kind of sound that comes when a crowd has already decided what must be done. Sheriff Moore peered through a crack in the side window. Lanterns swayed, faces blurred together, no single man to reason with. "They're done waiting," he whispered. Silas nodded. Then we stopped standing still. He glanced toward the rear of the church, a narrow door, half-rotted, long forgotten. "There are horses," Moore said. "I know," Silas replied. The boy hesitated. "If we run, they'll call it guilt." Silas looked at him. "They already have." The first shout hit the door like a hammer. The second came with a name. The third came with a rock. They moved. Out the back into the dark. Hooves scraped stone. Saddles creaked. Breath turned sharp. They rode hard, not looking back. Past the edge of town. Past the last fence. Only when Black Hollow shrank into darkness did Silas slow the pace. The horses steamed beneath the moon. Silence returned, thinner now. The boy broke it first. "They lied to me." Moore nodded. "Yes." "About my father?" Moore swallowed. "About many things." Silas dismounted, resting a hand on the saddle. "If you want the truth," he said, "you'll have to stop chasing the wrong man." The boy looked between them. "Then start talking." Silas stared toward the horizon, where the desert waited. "We will," he said, "but not all at once." The wind moved through the grass like a warning, and far behind them, the bell of Black Hollow rang again, faint, but not forgotten. The fire was small. Silas kept it that way. Big flames attract eyes. Small ones invite truth. The boy sat across from him, knees drawn close, rifle resting on the ground like it no longer knew who it belonged to. Sheriff Moore hadn't sat at all. He paced, counted steps, avoided the light. "You said there was a name," the boy finally said. Silas looked at Moore. "He deserves to hear it from you." Moore stopped moving. For a long moment he said nothing. Then, "Caleb Harlan." The name didn't echo, it sank. "Land broker?" Moore continued. "Railroad money. Came through towns like ours promising growth." The boy frowned. "I've heard that name." "Everyone has," Moore said bitterly. "That's why no one ever says it out loud." Silas added quietly, "He paid for men to disappear, for stories to be shaped, for gangs to wear sins that weren't fully theirs." The boy's voice trembled. "And my father?" Moore closed his eyes. "Refused to sell." The fire cracked. The boy stood. "Then why blame you?" he asked Silas. Silas met his gaze. "Because a monster with a face is easier than a man with contracts." The wind shifted. Somewhere far off, metal rang against stone. Not a bell this time, but something being built. Silas rose. "If Harlan knows I'm alive," he said, "he won't stop at Black Hollow." Moore nodded slowly. "Then we stop running." The boy tightened his jaw. "Then we ride toward him." Silas stared into the dark. where rail lines would soon cut the land. Names, he said, are where stories end, or begin. The boy kept his eyes on the fire, but his questions were aimed at both men. Tell it right, he said. Not the clean version. Sheriff Moore exhaled slowly. There was no clean version. He sat down at last, the badge catching the firelight like something exposed. Caleb Harlan came with papers, Moore said. Not threats, not guns. Papers that said the land was already sold. Silas nodded. And men believe paper more than they believe people. Moore continued, voice rough. Your father wasn't loud. He didn't fight. He just refused to leave. The boy's jaw tightened. Harlan didn't want a dispute, Moore said. He wanted a story, something the town could repeat until it felt true. Silas leaned forward. We were already that story. The Crowe gang rode through enough places, Moore added. Took enough, left enough fear behind. Harlan knew the name would stick. So you let them blame him, the boy said. Moore nodded once. I helped make it stick. Silence settled again. The ambush, the boy said. Who planned it? Silas answered. Men Harlan hired. Not law, not outlaws. Something in between. They were told to leave one alive, Moore said quietly. The boy looked up, startled. Why? Silas met his gaze. Because a dead gang becomes a rumor. A living one becomes a warning. The fire shifted. Your father's name never made it into the story, Moore said. Mine did. Silas's did. That's how Harlan wanted it. The boy swallowed. And the town. Silas looked back toward the dark horizon. The town learned what it was told, he said, and repeated it long enough to believe it was theirs. The boy stood slowly, the weight of the truth settling in his shoulders. Then everything I came here for, he said, was built on a lie. Moore nodded. Most things are.